So that was a brief overview of the kind of the tourism industry in Dominica, and now I'd like to speak a little bit about cultural tourism with a heavy slant on the Dominica perspective. And the definition that we would use for cultural tourism, much like we use for sports tourism, is the movement of people to a destination to engage in a culture-related activity. And this is where I take some time to explain that as a tourism authority, our mandate is the movement of people into Dominica for a wonderful experience. And we use any number of things that we can to make the people interested in coming. As you know, we use nature, we use culture, we use adventure. But we are not the ones responsible for developing the product. We have affiliations, for example, with the Ministry of Culture and the Division of Culture, whose primary mandate would be to develop Dominica's cultural assets. And then we, as a tourism authority, would promote that cultural asset, use it to the benefit of Dominica, to invite people to come in and share that experience with us. In 2009, we had an organization which is the National Export Strategy. Their primary focus is looking at a cohesive way to manage and to manage all things that can be exported from Dominica. And when they look at the cultural industries and that sector, this is how they classify it, that the cultural industry sector in Dominica includes songwriting, live performances, recording of music, film location, arts and craft, and production of printed material. And they made the acknowledgement that to date the growth of the sector has been driven largely to provide entertainment in the local market and some overseas travels by musicians. And so we are in the infancy of really benefiting and positively exploiting some of the products that we have to make people come to Dominica. Now, I dare say the exception to that would be our two main festivals, Carnival, which has been going on for a while, and the World Creole Music Festival, which is in its 16th year. But in terms of developing these cultural industries, we have largely been focused on the area of music and musicians. And we acknowledge that there is room for growth, and my hope is that as a result of this introduction, we can discuss other areas of cooperation that would be mutually beneficial. And the vision for cultural industries is to develop the cultural industries to become a significant source of employment and contributor to export earnings. So at the end of the day, there is a financial aspect to the business of cultural industries. It is how people make their livelihood as artisans and as purveyors of art. And so we must develop the industry with the necessary frameworks. And we, from a tourism perspective, must also do what we can to promote the product such that it can be patronized and that the creators of this culture can in fact benefit personally as well as through contributions to the national economy. Now, again, cultural tourism is the movement of people to enjoy something that has a cultural base. And we know that in Dominica's case, close to 50% of the visitors that we get are from the Caribbean. And we know that Caribbean people travel for events. And so we are trying to develop a very robust calendar of events so that we can continue to attract. Now, lest I speak of Dominica alone, we have other examples of best practices, so to speak. In Trinidad, for example, we know of their carnival. And in the month of Trinidad's carnival, they bring in more people than they bring in combined for the rest of the year. So they are probably the best in the Caribbean at packaging this cultural event and marketing it and receiving visitors who come to experience it. We also know of Barbados and their crop over, and we know of Jamaica with their various reggae festivals. But I wanted to mention, in Dominica's case, some of the events. Obviously, you can see Mas Dominicana Carnival. You can see Dom Festa, which is Dominica Festival of the Arts. You can see our Hike Fest, which tries to showcase our hiking trails. We have a new event that is will be in it this year, which is Jazz and Creole. We have a diving and scuba festival called Dive Fest, which will be in its 20th year, and it is the longest running dive-related festival in the Caribbean. We have an emancipation celebration or an emancipation festival to celebrate our emancipation in terms of the emancipation from slavery. We have a Nature Island Literary Festival. We also have, as we speak about cuisine, we have a Titiwi Festival. And who here knows what Titiwi is? Everybody knows what Titiwi is? Titiwi is a very small fish that comes in from the sea at the end of the month, and it swims up the river. Very small. And so, in particular, the village of Layu, very close to St. Joseph, has held on to this one, and they do all things Titiwi. Titiwi pizza, barbecued Titiwi, roast Titiwi, Titiwi on a stick, Titiwi with breadfruit, all things. And so this is an aspect, this is an opportunity to come to Dominica and experience one of the many village feasts that we have. And in particular, this one has a cuisine orientation. And of course, we have our independence celebrations leading up to November 3rd, pretty much a month long of activities. We have the World Creole Music Festival. We actually have a day for eating fish. We have a crab festival. And we have, in the Kalinago territory, we have a Waraka Sewenal festival, which is around the Christmas time. And then we have numerous village feasts and village reunions. And so I'll go into a little bit of detail on some of the festivals and speak to some of the challenges and opportunities, which will, in essence, create a foundation for greater cooperation and collaboration. And Mas Dominic, our carnival, is a pre-Lenten carnival celebration with a strong emphasis on the traditional aspect of carnival. And from an aspect of cultural tourism, many will talk about Well, is it traditional or is it contemporary? Some like traditional, some like contemporary. If the goal is to increase the number of visitors, then you must provide a product for both constituents. And Carnival is the one that has held on to its traditional roots. And this is one of the festivals organized by the Dominica Festivals Committee. And so here you see in image some of what we celebrate. You have in the upper left, you have the sensei, and then you have some of the bois, and then you have the black devils, and of course you have the lapo cabuit.